Hello friends, welcome to the channel. Here I bring you the best content on YouTube related to sports card grading, hobby trends, and market analysis so that you can enjoy the hobby either as a collector, flipper, or investor. Investing. What a glorious topic that this is going to be today. I hope that you all are having a great day, whatever day it is that you're watching this video. But thank you for tuning in and investing. So yes, today I'm going to be telling you exactly why you should not be investing in cards. But Tyler, this is blasphemous. I've watched all of your content and this is going to go completely out of line with what you've been preaching. Well, trust me, this cardboard economics session that will be covering cardboard investing versus flipping is going to be the gospel, and Tyler is here to tell you the truth about what you should be doing if you are wanting to maximize your return on investment whenever you're trying to make money in sports cards. So, I've talked about this previously, but if you're in the market for just making money within the sports card market, I'm not a big fan of that. You absolutely should be involved as a collector as well, just because it does end up coming off with a very, very bad connotation. Investing, flipping, that's great, but at the same time, you need to have an emotional connection to the cards. It's very, very similar to art. So art is going to be one of those things where you can make a lot of money in, but you should appreciate the art and appreciate the sports and appreciate the hobby for what it is, and also try to make a little bit of money on the side. So got that out of the way. Back to flipping versus investing. So, flipping versus investing. We talked about this in one of my previous videos, but this all really falls under prospecting. Whenever you think of investing versus flipping, those two definitions really talk about, and they're differentiated by the time frame for which you are hoping to maximize your return on investment for a specific card. And again, this can occur with prospecting over a variety of different aspects. I'm really only going to be talking about singles, buying individual cards, not necessarily buying wax boxes or packs or anything like that, but really just talking about investing versus flipping single cards, which is the predominant large part of the hobby. So if you are looking at more of an investment, that in my mind really speaks to a longer term time frame. More along the lines of a 12-month or longer time frame. Flipping, on the other hand, is a much shorter time frame, really in the 3 to 6 month, if not sooner than that time frame. So flipping more short-term, investment more long-term. So what strategy should you be looking for, and why is investing something that I recommend that you do not get involved with if you're looking to maximize your ROI? So I will fire up Microsoft Excel really quick so that I can break down from an economic and mathematical perspective why it is disadvantageous for you to invest and why you should be flipping. So let's say that little Johnny is just getting into the hobby, and little Johnny is really, really interested in investing. He's seen all this YouTube content that has him so intrigued into investing in cardboard. And let me just go ahead and stop right here. All of this content that has just really exploded on YouTube is unbelievably valuable. There's so much good stuff within this content, and it also fills a niche that has been void for a very long time. Even if you look at the sneakerhead culture, the sneakerhead YouTube content, there is a ton of information out there and a lot of traffic, a lot of followers. There's sub-channels that have almost 1 million, if not 1 million plus subscribers, just to look at shoes. And yes, I'm an avid shoe collector. I have almost 20, 30 pairs of MJs, but I do not follow anything on YouTube. But that just speaks to the market that can potentially be captured by having your own YouTube channel talking about sports cards. So, because there's not a whole lot of people out there talking about sports cards, the people that are talking about it right now are really talking more about it from an investment perspective. So little Johnny is intrigued, right? Little Johnny says, oh, I got $100 in birthday money. Tell me, what should I buy? And I'm actually starting to get a ton of these different questions. What should I do? What should I do with my money? What should I buy? I have so much money to start out with. And for many of these cases, I really haven't given them any advice in terms of a tangible buy because I'm not a big fan of investing. Here's why. So little Johnny gets $100 in birthday money, and he says that he wants to go buy some player. He goes and buys his favorite player that he knows is undervalued, that he says and predicts is going to have a 100% ROI. So it will have a 100% ROI, meaning that you can essentially double that number. So within a 12-month time frame, 12 months passes by. He now has a asset or a card that is now worth $200. He sells that, and he now has a 100% return on investment. 100% ROI. Great job, little Johnny. You did so good. And honestly, that is really, really good. So tell me another market within this world that you can have a 100% ROI within 12 months and that just be consistent. So not to say that that's something that's very, very consistent within the sports card market, but it is certainly possible. He made a wise investment. He outperformed the Dow Jones. He outperformed real estate. He outperformed all these other investments that really make people rich. He's just not getting the equity like he is in real estate. So is that the best strategy that little Johnny should have done? Well, let's assume that instead of investing, he had done something a little bit different. So now let's say that he is going to do a flipping strategy. So let's delete those numbers, and let's say that little Johnny has a model that allows him to get a 50% ROI by flipping within a 3-month turnaround time. So you're trying to tell me, Tyler, that there's a model out there that exists that allows for you to get a 50% ROI within 3 months. So depending on the market and depending on your knowledge and depending on what your strategy is, absolutely. There are certain models that allow you to exceed 50%. So let's see how this math plays out. Let's say little Johnny starts out with that 100 and he ends up buying something for $100 in January. Whenever April 1st comes around, he has been able to turn that $100 at a 50% rate to turn that into $150. Pretty amazing, right? Great job, little Johnny. Unbelievable. So let's say that little Johnny is smart. He's not like his dumb classmates and the dumb generation that is coming behind him, where he wants to go buy all these video games and all this digital app stuff and all this stuff that really just he shouldn't be buying. He is a savvy businessman. Instead, what he does is he takes the full amount, the full $150, the original $100 investment plus the $50 in profit that he just gained over the quarter, and now he is going to turn that again in April to July at another 50% ROI rate. So little Johnny turns his money again, and boom! This time he makes $75 profit, again retaining his original $100 investment and his original $150 investment, which counts as a principal investment in April. So now he has $225. Oh my goodness, he has already surpassed what he had done had he done an investment strategy at a 100% ROI over 12 months. He has already surpassed that. Wow. All right, so let's see what happens if he just keeps playing this out. Every single quarter at the exact same rate, all the way until the end of the year. $506. So instead of having a 200% ROI, now little Johnny has a 500% ROI. I believe that's the math. He has almost, quintupled, quadrupled? Yeah, quintupled his money. Great job, little Johnny. So I know you guys are your heads are exploding right now because you're like, there's no way that I can get a 50% ROI within 3 months. Well, for the most part, you're probably right. The average person in the hobby probably is not able to do that just because it is very, very difficult to maintain that. And it's even difficult for really anybody to maintain that right now, especially depending on the market and the model and the niche that you're in. So let's say instead of having a 50% ROI, let's see if little Johnny can maintain a 30% ROI. So he goes with $100 again, and he is able to make a 30% ROI, a $30 profit on $100, now getting $130 in April. So July comes around and we are doing the exact same process. Now he's up to 169. Now let's knock this down. That's 219.70. And now let's multiply this one by 1.3. Boom, 286. So we went from a 50% ROI down to a 30% ROI. And still, little Johnny is making a 186% return on investment. Mind-blowing. Again, far outpacing the investment strategy had he performed an investment strategy initially. Okay, so you're saying, Tyler, come on now. It's not possible to make a 30% ROI within 3 months. Let's knock this down to 20%. And again, I haven't really played with these numbers all that much, so I don't know if this is going to work out to my advantage by showing you all this or not. It's just math. It's not that difficult. So now we are going to go to the end of the year. Boom, 207. So the flipping strategy is still showing that it is more beneficial to flip. Again, it all depends on the inventory turns, and it all depends on the return on investment, but there is a break-even point that you can figure out that would allow you to figure out, if I just invest in this card and do nothing versus flip at a specific return on investment, what is the break-even point? So a lot of you are probably saying, but Tyler, this up here is more of a passive investment. This down here sounds like more of an active investment. And to that, you are correct. This does require effort. How much effort depends on how good you are at flipping. How much energy you expend at flipping. Do you have somebody else flip for you like a consignor? Do you have to flip it yourself? So all those are different variables that you have to consider whether or not you find that this is a more valuable model versus this model. And again, the mathematical difference between this is, let's assume that this is the bracket that you're in, is this delta, the delta between 207 and 200, $7, is that $7 difference worth your time to do this versus this? The answer probably is no. But let's say this $86 difference, 286 minus 200, is that $86 difference worth it whenever you factor in all the time and expense in flipping versus investing? To that, I would say yes. And again, we're talking about $100. Let's say that we've magnified this by 1,000. Well, or magnified this to 1,000. Again, you can see that the numbers become a little bit more staggering. And you can begin to see that depending on what you're starting with and depending on what you're ending with, it becomes a little bit larger and a little bit more financially feasible for you to do this on your own. So I hope that you guys found this very, very helpful, because again, this highlights the fact that flipping is a much better process to getting you to where you want to be as opposed to investing. Now, I talked about I'm not in this to make money exclusively. I would like to use my knowledge to make money in sports cards. I've talked about that a lot, but I also know that this is also a hobby to collect, to enjoy, to appreciate. So I do not want to encourage people to get in this hobby for the sole purposes of making money. If you're in this hobby and you want to make money, I want to be able to educate individuals in terms of what is the best pathway from a mathematical standpoint. This is a mathematical standpoint only. This does not mean that you should not invest and that you should only flip. Right now, investing may actually be the best strategy, because right now I can't do this. I can't do a 50% ROI within 3 months or a 50% ROI within 6 months, because my model is all dependent on an external third-party authenticator, mainly PSA, Beckett, SGC, and they are backed up beyond belief right now. So 2017, 2018, I could do this no problem. No problem whatsoever. Only rate limiting factor to me was money. Well, right now that factor is somewhat alleviated, but it's not so much alleviated because now the authenticator is way, way behind. So for me, it's volume. I don't necessarily care about the return on investment so long as it's positive and so long as I can continue to flip. Another interesting thing about this is you will see a lot of these individuals who are going along with the investment strategy pump their chest. So they're going to pump their chest and say, I told you so. Or they're going to be able to sell you advice, or they're going to sell you tips, or they're going to be on message boards and they're going to say, FYI, I bought this card at this price. A year later, 2 years later, I sold it at this price. And this ROI is really sticking out as something that is a real attention grabber. Meanwhile, the pros are sitting in the background, getting their singles, getting their doubles, getting their triples. Every now and then they'll get a home run, and the home run will be a 100% ROI within 3 to 6 months. and they're slowly flipping and flipping and churning, and they are amassing a very, very nice personal collection, a very nice PC, but also a very nice bankroll that will allow them to do a lot of really cool creative things just because they've been involved in the flip game, not the investment game. So very last point that I'll talk about is, what am I doing today? What is my strategy? It sounds like I would likely not be involved in investing. That is not true. So out of my model that I do, if you exclude all the cards that I separate and put in my personal collection, and you only look at the cards that I intend on selling, that bucket of cards. So whenever I buy cards, get them graded, and they come back to me, 90% of them I flip. 90 to 95% of them I flip. 5 to 10% I'm now investing. Well, why is that, Tyler? You just talked about this mathematical model, and it makes sense to flip everything. There are a number of cards that I bought in 2017, 2018, 2019, even early 2020 that if I plugged them into this model, which is what I did, I made good money. I made the rate that I expect to normally make. But those same cards didn't just have a 100% ROI within 12 months. It had a much larger ROI than that. We're talking about 1,000% ROI or a 10,000% ROI, not just in 12 months, some in 6 months or less. So I had good foresight in terms of buying the cards that I needed in this model. I didn't have the good foresight to hold on to those cards because my main focus at that entire time was building this bankroll. I wanted to grow this as fast as I could, which is why I didn't want to hang on to something and hope that it was going to double in value in 12 months. Well, in certain cases, it quintupled, quadrupled, septupled, whatever. It 10x'd. And I didn't expect it to 10x. I wanted to grow this as fast as I can. I'm up to the point now where I'm in good shape with that. Now it's allowed me the opportunity to set aside roughly 5-10%, if not more than that now. I'm going to be setting back a lot of stuff, really, because I'm in a good place where I have cards that I can flip and exchange very, very easily to get the cards that I want to really enjoy as a personal collection perspective, or to really speculate from an investment perspective. So my model today is, out of all the cards that I buy and sell, roughly 90% I flip because this model is bulletproof. Investing, on the other hand, much more speculative. I can't guarantee this ROI, and the ROI is slower and smaller. So I much prefer a flip game for the majority of what I do. Invest in some of those speculative things, very much so the equivalent of rolling the dice in Vegas. So I hope that you guys found this helpful. If you are new to this channel and you like this content, please give me a thumbs up. Also hit the subscribe button if this is content that you like. Also get the bell notification. If you have disagreements, or if you agree, or if you have differing thoughts about what your strategy is, or if you think that I am hypocritical and that I am not a collector and I'm not involved in this whatsoever and I'm the worst part about sports cards and the hobby, which I hope that's not the case, by all means, type the comments down below and I will be happy to have a dialogue with you. But otherwise, thank you guys for checking out the channel. Appreciate it.